Hey, how's it going guys? Jack and Matt here with the Toasty Bros, and today we're going to be doing the top 5 keyboards under $60.
We're approaching the higher price range of our top keyboard roundup, and honestly, these are some awesome value keyboards. And guess what? No blue switches. But before we get into that, let's hear a word from today's sponsor.
Today's video is brought to you by Aukey and their Night Gaming Mouse. The Night Gaming Mouse rocks a PMW3325 optical sensor, 4 DPI profiles, and 8 programmable buttons, along with some really awesome RGB at a surprisingly low price. Aukey delivers some of the best value peripheral products on the market, and this gaming mouse is no exception. We use their products a lot in our top budget gaming setup videos, and you should definitely give them a shot by checking the link in the description down below. Thanks again to Aukey for sponsoring today's video. Now, let's get into this PC video, shall we?
So as we mentioned, this is the top 5 keyboards under $60. Normally they're available on Amazon, that's where we bought them, and we'll leave links in the description down below. They are affiliate links that do help us out. So what we're gonna do is open up these keyboard boxes, take a look at the keyboards, give our first impressions, do a typing test, and then give you all a top 5 roundup, which our top 5 set is kind of being used right now. We'll have to take things off, but then we'll do the top 5 and show you guys our favorites. So let's not waste any more time and get right into it.
Alright guys, for the first keyboard we have the Dyra, not to be pronounced as any other way, and this one is the DK63. So it is in black, it came with cherry mechanical switches, they're Automu, and it does have Bluetooth, which is pretty cool. So let's go ahead and open this keyboard up, and wow, it looks pretty good. You know, I mean, what do you expect? $60 keyboard, I think all these are actually gonna look really nice. So go ahead and pop it out. And it is indeed basically wireless. That's pretty cool. That's what it implies by Bluetooth. So really awesome, comes with an angled USB Type-C connector. It is braided, it looks like it's pretty long, comes with a Velcro strap on it. It does come with some extra keycaps to, you know, really bling out your keyboard, and a keycap puller. So we got the whole 10 yards here. Okay, so what we have here is a keyboard that uses a USB Type-C connector, which we really love to see. Pretty good build quality. It does indeed have rubber stands and rubber feet to keep it from sliding, and it sits up at a really nice angle, and it's actually a really sturdy feeling keyboard. We'll go ahead and pop one of these red switches off, and look at that, a nice Automu red switch. And just like any other red, nice and linear, not too loud or anything. As far as stabilizers go, not really bad at all. You don't hear any bad like stabilizer clacking or anything. So this is actually a really nice feeling keyboard. Let's go ahead and see how much she weighs. So we have the trusty accurate scale. We have no cable to weigh us down either. And we're looking at 1 pound and about 4 ounces. So relatively well-built keyboard, but we'll have to put it up against the other ones to see how it pairs. All right, and let's get it plugged in for the first time. It looks like it's on a demo mode at the moment, so it's kind of just gonna go through all the RGB modes, which is good for us because then you can kind of see what this keyboard's capable of. But full RGB spectrum, and it looks really nice, it's fluid, so I'm pretty happy with this keyboard. Let's get a typing test. So this keyboard sounds, feels, and overall does really good, coming in around $60. So I'd say we just go ahead and place this one at number 3.
All right guys, next keyboard. This is the Dragon K552. This is a full-size keyboard, which is kind of different from the norm on this keyboard roundup, but it does come with brown switches, so let's go ahead and open it up. I'm not as prepared as Jackson was, already having them cut open, ready to go, so I'm gonna go ahead and do it that way, and then we will go ahead and open it up. Okay, let's open it up and look. Very basic box. This is a full-size keyboard, a full-size budget keyboard, so don't expect anything too crazy, but it does look like it came with a couple things here. So I don't know what's inside here. Actually comes with extra switches, which apparently this board is hot swappable or mechanical switch replacement. Yeah, it looks like this board's hot swappable. I didn't think that was a feature, but based on this, it shows that it is hot swappable. Comes with a bunch of different switches, Jesus. So if you want to try a bunch of different kind of switches, that's really cool. But let's go ahead and take the keyboard out. Looks like you have black switches, brown switches, reds, and blues. So that's kind of cool to have. All right, unbox this keyboard. Look at that, it's absolutely beautiful. Now, first impressions on this keyboard, it is a well-built aluminum frame. We have the full-size design with those red switches. It does not come with a braided cable, and it is pre-attached. Not that great in my opinion. I would normally like to see a detachable cable, but it is is a really long cable and should be perfect for most desk setups. All right, pulling a cap off, it looks like we have the box brown switches. I can't really tell which company it is. It looks like it's Red Dragon branded, so I don't know if they have their own switch in-house now. Normally they use like Automu or Gatron switches, but this one seems to be their in-house brand. That's probably why they sent all these different switches, so that's kind of cool. How about we go ahead and see how much this thing weighs? All right, this guy is probably gonna be a little bit hefty. Cable off, we're gonna go ahead and lay it down. What are we looking at, Jackson?
2 pounds, 5.2 ounces.
Yeah, this one's definitely bigger. It is a full-size keyboard, so that is to be expected. It also has an aluminum frame, which is very well built, so very impressed with this one. How about we go ahead and plug it up to the laptop and see what she looks like. All right, guys, we have the keyboard plugged up, and ooh, look at that. Out the gate with some awesome looking RGB. There is a couple color profiles, I believe, built in, so you can get like a bunch of different modes, but normally most of you are gonna really opt for like this beautiful RGB wave. Yeah, let's get a quick typing test in and see what those brown switches sound like. So I'm actually pretty impressed. The stabilizers seem pretty solid for a brown switch keyboard. Honestly, it's looking nice. I like that it came with all these different switches, so you can potentially decide if you want to change the switches on this thing from Red Dragon, so that's a cool option. Yeah, very well built keyboard. Not really sure where I'm gonna rate it, but I'm gonna go ahead and move it over there, probably in the middle between like 3 and 4 right now. We'll probably get finalized ratings here later once we test all the keyboards, but it being the only full-size keyboard, I'm not 100% sure where I'm gonna go with this. So we're just gonna plop it in 4 for right now, and then we'll come back and do some reorganizing once we see the rest.
Next up, we have the classic GK61 featuring optical red switches. So what's cool about optical switches is, well, they're most often hot swappable, especially with this one. It is hot swappable. It also appears to have a detachable cable right off the bat, which is really nice. Let's get past this loud part. So we have a very similar to the Dyra looking keyboard. We do have rubber feet, but we do not have flip out ones. So you cannot change the height of this unless you literally add something under it. So that's a little bit of a drawback in my opinion. It does feel a little bit lighter than the Dyra one, although it could be the exact same. I'm not really sure. As far as stabilizers go, sounds pretty good. Not any major clack or anything. They sound like some pretty quiet reds. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull one of the caps off. All right, so in the box here, I'm gonna assume, oh, look at that. We have a switch and a keycap puller. So we're obviously just gonna use the keycap puller, and so using the included keycap puller, we have the switch right here. And this is a Gatron optical red switch, as you can tell. So pretty nice looking switch overall. It feels like it has pretty good build quality too. And it's pretty cool though that if you wanted to change these switches out, you could. Now it does come with USB Type-C, which we love to see. It is braided, it's not angled, so if that's something that bothers you, then you could always buy an adapter. But overall though, really good looking keyboard. One thing to note, even though this thing is hot swappable, which is really awesome, you do need to use optical switches. So keep that in mind. You know, you can't go with the standard mechanical switches. All right, what are we looking at?
1 pound, 3.2 ounces.
Okay, so it's almost the exact same as the Dyra keyboard. As I said, this is a really similar looking keyboard, so let's see how the RGB looks on it now. Ooh. All right, look at that. We have a very fast wave, but this one's really bright, which I like. It actually really shines well, and I'm sure the camera's probably picking it up better than the other ones, because the other ones, you know, it looks good, but this one is the brightest one so far, and I'm sure at night this thing will look really cool. All right, so this one, I'm really liking it, and I feel like it's pretty on par with the Dyra one. So I don't know, I'm gonna just go ahead and put this one in first. I could totally see it moving, but I feel like this is such a tried and trusted keyboard that it kind of just deserves first right now. The optical part really is the main drawback in my opinion, but for some people, they might actually like that.
All right, guys, with every keyboard roundup, we try to find like a diamond in the rough, and this one right here, I think, is one of those. Coming in at $60, this is the Ajaz K552, which is a Bluetooth keyboard. This does come with red switches as well, but it is, you know what, white. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at it, open this thing up, and look at that. It is a 10 keyless keyboard, looks pretty sick. We'll go ahead and move the box out of the way and look in the box in a second. But on initial impressions, we do have flip out feet, so that's awesome. We have the little rubber flip out feet, so it won't slide around on your desk. That's a 0.0 for some of the keyboards we've already tested out. So we'll go ahead and put it down right here. So what brought my attention to this keyboard is the fact that it does come with a volume knob. It looks like a mute switch, and I'm assuming this is Bluetooth to USB switching, so you can switch between Bluetooth and USB. Really cool in my opinion. We'll go ahead and pull out the cable real quick, which, my goodness, is a white cable with USB Type-C. Looks pretty nice. I'm assuming it plugs in right here. It looks like it's a recessed plug, which is kind of cool, so you can kind of So you see it plugs in like that. It almost looks like it comes attached with that recessed design, which is kind of cool in my opinion. It might limit you though in getting like aftermarket cables, so do keep that in mind. But I mean, hey, initial build quality, it's a lot cheaper than something like the aluminum keyboard that we've tested. It does come with these white switches, but I'm very interested to see the RGB because the picture on Amazon made it look like it had a ton of RGB. And it also showed on Amazon that it comes with these custom keycaps. So you can put different ones on there, which I might swap out and show you guys in the final design. But you can get some extra little color here without having to buy a whole keycap set. So that's kind of cool. But before we check out that RGB, let's go ahead and look at the weight of this keyboard. So we're gonna turn this on real quick, wait till it levels out. Good to go, and here we go. I'm guessing it's gonna be probably a little bit over the other keyboards. What are we looking at?
Ooh, 1 pound, 15 ounces.
And looky here, holy RGB. White keyboards with RGB, it looks really sick. This is a very bright RGB design, so if this is something you're into, definitely give this keyboard a look. And you also have these colorful keycaps, if that's what you wanna do. I might swap it on there before the typing test to give you all an impression of it. But hey, look at that, RGB. I'm assuming it has a couple RGB modes built in. We'll try. So you hit function arrow key to change between like different color modes, built in just static colors. It has like a wave pattern to it, but we can get back to the normal RGB here in a second. There you go, normal RGB. So not crazy in the customization department, but I think this is one of the nicer looking keyboards. Let's type with it real quick, shall we? Okay guys, typing test is complete, and honestly, I do like this keyboard a lot. It is very unique. It has a cool color scheme to it. In terms of rating it right now, I mean, the switches sound pretty good. Stabilizers aren't the greatest. So for some reason, our keyboard, it looks like has like hot glue spilled on it. I don't know. Again, this is a really cheap keyboard. I have no idea, but I mean, it looks really nice. So overall, if you really like a white keyboard, I mean, this is the only option you really have to go with. So I'm probably gonna put it right now in the middle between these two keyboards. I really like the GK61. I actually use it as my personal keyboard for a while, so I'm still not gonna totally dethrone it yet, but this one with a 10 keyless design and those custom keycaps and the ability to, well, have the all white design, I mean, it could be an option for you. I really like it.
So real quick as a quick disclaimer, that last keyboard that we just did that we thought was glue, that was actually lube from where they lubed the stabilizers, so kind of a good thing. They did kind of get it everywhere, but it's okay. And on that note, this is the RK61 RGB. As you can see, a trend of all these 60% keyboards have a very similar naming scheme. This one though came in white with red switches. This actually isn't the exact one that we ordered, but you know, hey, it adds some variety, right? So this keyboard is a 60%. It feels like it's relatively well built, but once again, it's all plastic. It does indeed have red switches, which we'll find out what exactly they are in just a second. It has, you know, it does not have any of the flip out feet, but it does indeed have rubber to keep it from sliding around. So let's go ahead and pull off a keycap and see exactly what it has. Hopefully they included a keycap puller, and they did. Oh my gosh, they included the big boy.
Ooh, good
and
one.
then we have the USB Type-C cable, non-braided, but it is white, so it's cool that it matches. So we have yet again another in-house brand, RK red switch. It is just a mechanical switch. I don't think that this one's top swappable because they didn't include anything to actually pull the switch, so we're gonna say that it's not. But it is white, it is supposed to be RGB. It does have a detachable cable. Let's go ahead and see how much it weighs. What we got?
1 pound, 3.1 ounces.
Okay, so every single 60% keyboard we did was like the exact same somehow. So, hey, all right, let's go ahead and plug it in and see what it looks like. And just like that last white keyboard, really nice looking RGB. It's nice and fluid. There is a few different modes you can actually choose from if I can. All right, so you can just once again function, and then you can go through quite a few different modes from static to RGB waves. All right, so now that we're over testing the RGB, let's go ahead and see what the switches sound like. All right, so this is the last keyboard of the roundup, and I'm not like, you know, I'm impressed, but I'm not super impressed. I mean, there's a couple of like weird, like there's some spots here and there, like, I don't know, it has decent build quality. It feels honestly just like the other 60% keyboards. So this one's hot swappable, which is really cool. You know what, I think I'm just gonna call this one last.
Okay.
I hate to do it because honestly, I wasn't really disappointed with any of these keyboards. I think that's something that Matt and I both agree with, was that every single one for 60 bucks was a really good keyboard. These were all good options, but you know, we gotta rank them somehow.
So our final ranking here is the GK61 #1. Yes, it is a very popular kind of basic keyboard, but it does come with hot swappable optical switches. Honestly, in my opinion, these two are kind of hot swappable. Get it? I would probably go with this one as well, the Ajaz keyboard with the custom keycaps and the all-white design. This one would be my personal keyboard of choice, but I know this one is kind of like really popular and people really like it, so I'm probably like a tie between these two. Really like the Ajaz keyboard. This one right here is the Dyra DK63, which is a 60% keyboard with red switches. Looks really nice as well. Very similar to something like the GK61, so that's kind of why it's in third place. This right here is the big boy of them all, the Red Dragon K552 RGB hot swappable brown switches. Does come in other switches as well. And then lastly, we have the RK Royal Kludge, which I know a lot of people like this keyboard, and some of the stabilizers in this are pretty solid, and it does feel like it is lubed out of the factory. Could be wrong, but it does feel really smooth. So honestly, any of these, #5 might be #1 for you. Keyboards are very subjective, so if you have a different taste, I mean, you might like this one better than that one, and that is kind of why we do these roundups, to give you all our impressions, so you all can make a buying decision by using the links in the description down below. How about we go ahead and do an outro real quick?
All right, guys, so for $60 or less, we were really impressed with all these keyboards because, well, when we do the cheaper keyboard challenges, we get a lot of really ugly, weird-looking keyboards that have all kinds of crazy designs in them. These were all very, I guess you could say, generic and mainstream and just really well built. So honestly, from 1 to 5, they're all pretty similar.
I feel pretty comfortable saying that $60 is like the great starting point for a keyboard that's gonna last you a long time and get you all the features you want. So if any of these did tickle your fancy, links in the description down below. They are affiliate links that do help us out, and hopefully you guys enjoyed this video.
If you haven't already, don't forget to check out our other 2 YouTube channels and also our twitch.tv/toastybros. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
And we will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye. Bye the
Konnichiwa.
keyboards. Bye the keyboards.
Bye and bye
Like I've been
now.
saying, like